Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric with Sweet Spot DFS, going over a DraftKings first look for the 2025 US Open. I'm going to go over each of the golfers and their price points. Well, maybe not each. We'll do most of them. But we'll talk about the golfers themselves at their price points and kind of theory craft. Are they a good play or not? But first, I am doing a giveaway this week. I've done this giveaway for each of the major championships thus far. It's a win the pot giveaway. It starts at $20, and for every one new subscriber that I get on this channel, I will add $2 to that pot. I'm going to add a new wrinkle to this giveaway. If we can get the subscriber count to this channel to 850 subscribers before Tuesday, June 10th, I'm going to change that starting point of $20 to $50. And still, one new subscriber will add $2 to it. Currently, I'm at 841. You can see the goal stamp all the way over to the left. I'm at 841 subscribers on this channel. So we just need 9 new subscribers. Once we get those 9 new subscribers, again, that starting point switches from 20 to 50. But then you add $2 to it, that's 18. That's $18 added to it. That giveaway then will be worth $68. But I'm not just saying, hey, let's just get it to 850 subscribers. The more subscribers added to this channel, the higher or the bigger that pot will be. If you want an entry into this giveaway, be subscribed and comment on any of the videos from here leading up until the US Open, and that's how you'll get an entry into this giveaway. So it's up to you guys. You get to determine how big you want that pot to be and how many entries you want into the giveaway. It is going to be limited to 1 entry per video. So you can't just spam a bunch of comments into each of the videos and get multiple entries. It's 1 entry per video. So you help me out, I'll help you out. And then furthermore, if you didn't already know, I do have a website called sweetspotdfs.com. If you want in on a potential of winning any of the giveaways you see on the screen, I'm giving away $1,000 worth of giveaways. One is a lifetime membership to the website. The other one is an annual membership. And then I'm giving away 2 $100 cash giveaways. So if you want in on this giveaway, well, 1, subscribe to the channel, because once we reach 1,000 subscribers, that's when I'm going to actually run the giveaway. But then go create yourself an account at sweetspotdfs.com. That's all that you need to do. And I don't ask for your credit card information, nothing. You just need to supply a username, email, and a password. That's it. That's how you sign up on the website. There's a link to the website down in the description below. Go check it out, create yourself an account, and then once we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will run this giveaway. And I will give you plenty of time as to when I will do the giveaway so you guys can be informed. But I'm going to be pulling the email addresses from the website and then emailing you guys, hey, you are a giveaway winner. So again, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It helps out both giveaways. And also create yourself an account at sweetspotdfs.com. All right, that is all that I wanted to provide. Let's go ahead and dive into the DraftKings salaries. Scottie Scheffler is $14,400. Like I said in the intro, I haven't seen a golfer this expensive. In fact, I'm going to go through my spreadsheet that I use just to show you the high prices of each of the golfers dating back to 2017. So this is 2025 that's on the screen right now. $14,400 Scottie Scheffler. Last year, he was $13,000. The year before that, $11,400 for Scottie. The year before that, $11,300 for Scottie. If I go back to 2021, Jon Rahm was $11,200. If I go back to 2020, Dustin Johnson was $11,500. I don't think I put filters on these. Let me go ahead and add them. We sort here. 2019, Brooks Koepka was $11,600. 2018. Our most expensive golfer was Dustin Johnson at $11,700. And then if we go to 2017, the most expensive golfer here was $12,000 Dustin Johnson. Do I have any salaries in 2016? No, I do not. Okay. And coincidentally, 2016 is when Oakmont was used as the golf course for the US Open again. So unfortunately, I don't have prices there, but I bet you anything Dustin Johnson would have been $12,000. So anyways, 14,400. What do we do with that information? Well, first, I think it's worth pointing out. I'll go back to DraftKings. If I scroll down on the salaries, it drops pretty fast. You'll see 14 down to 10, and then we have 4 golfers in the 9K range, 5 golfers in the 8K range, drops into the 7s and doesn't stay in the 7s very long. It goes down to the 6s, all the way down to the 5K range. There is a 5K range once again. If you've been to this channel before, you understand I hate 5K ranges. In fact, it is my belief that adding a 5K range does not add much skill to building lineups. Don't get me wrong, there is still some skill, so I guess I'll retract that statement. But the 5K range is created for casuals to come in here and build a awesome lineup that looks super powerful by adding in a couple 5K golfers. And in fact, if I scroll down here, you're going to see some notable 5K names. I'm not going to really say Phil Mickelson this year is a notable name, but he is $5,800 for any of the old timers coming into this stream. Victor Perez is 59. If I scroll down a little bit more, let's see. Johnny Vegas is 57. Matt McCarty, who at the recording of this video is close to the leaderboard for the Canadian Open that was played right before this tournament. Scrolling down, Mark Hubbard, 5,600. Adam Schenk, 5,600. Probably it's noteworthy to mention Dunlap's name, a 2-time winner on the PGA Tour, but not noteworthy that he's been playing the worst golf of his short PGA career just recently, and just bad. And then it kind of just dives down into golfers probably don't care for. Will Chandler is a fun golfer that I like to play every once in a while on normal events. Same too with Lonto Griffin. They've both had their, struggles, but golfers you might be able to play. Is this Justin Hastings from... No, it is not. Okay. Maybe I was thinking of a different golfer. Kevin Velo. He hasn't really been playing super great golf, but he is on the PGA Tour playing several events. Same goes with Trevor Cohn. So anyways, there are some notable names down here in the 5K range that you could probably grab 1 or 2 of to round out your lineups. And I guess let's go over that really quickly. Because the first thing we need to do if we are choosing to play Scottie Scheffler, actually, I'll show it to you guys. If you put Scottie Scheffler in your lineup, your average remaining salary is $7,100. You could still create a very valid lineup, I guess, if we were to just choose mostly 7K golfers. Like, go ahead and put Keegan Bradley in there. Let's go ahead and put Sam Burns. That's doing decent at the Canadian Open. Sungjae is whatever. He's a name. Siwoo Kim. And I mean, we have $7,200 left. How about Ben Griffin? He's been one of the hottest golfers besides Scottie Scheffler on tour. So there you go. You have 1 golfer at $14,400, 4 golfers in the 7K range, and 1 golfer $6,900. So it's doable. You can make a solid lineup that way. I don't know if I really recommend that at this point in time. Check in with the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups, where I'll break it down even more as to what a more viable lineup build would be. But for this first look, it looks like you can build a Scottie Scheffler lineup without any issue. But if we were to drop into the 5K range, like I was mentioning before, I mean, the first name to me that that kind of comes out is, where's his name? Just mentioned him. Victor Perez. I like Victor Perez. I also, Thorbjorn Olesen was playing pretty well at the Canadian Open. He's a pretty decent talent. Sam Stevens is also pretty good to put into your lineups. But let's do something like this. I like Steven Yeager, despite him being kind of erratic off the tee, and accuracy might have to be a big component of doing well at this event. But you could probably put these 2 golfers in. I think there was another guy down here. Maybe it was Adam Schenk I was thinking of. I don't know if he's accurate enough for me to want to play. How about this? Let's just do it for the experiment. All right, so Victor Perez at 59. You could sub in even that 6K golfer I just had on the screen, and then Adam Schenk at 56. Now we have $8,000 to work with. If you have been to this channel before, I kind of always talk about starting with a 10K and above golfer, then a 9, then an 8, then 2 7s, and then a 6, which I just say really quickly as 10 9 8 7 7 6. You can kind of do this week in a different way. I have created, and I will always do this when there's a 5K range, some kind of conversion method of switching out some of the golfers' price tags. And like, this is what you see their DraftKings salaries at. So I have all the names right here with their DraftKings salaries. So I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, you can find this at the cheat sheet that I have created, and you have to go to sweetspotdfs.com to find it. Go there, toggle down the fantasy tools to the cheat sheet, and then you can access this. But I always do a conversion when there's a 5K range, because it's really difficult if we're looking every single week at salaries and trying to compare, let's be real, or let me say something quick before I actually get to my point. Salaries are a power ranking. It is your best golfers in the field at the highest prices. Obviously, Scottie Scheffler is the best golfer in the world. He's been the best golfer the last 2 months, maybe. Month for sure. You add Rory McIlroy when it comes to 2 months. But honestly, once Scottie Scheffler kind of got over the hand injury that he had in the beginning of the year, he went back to being the same Scottie Scheffler he was last year. So either way, 14,400 is very expensive. Now, we've seen him 13,300 in 2 events in the past 7 weeks. We've also seen him up to 13,700, all of which has been in the optimal lineup, the perfect lineup. Scottie Scheffler, 14,400. Well, if we adjust salaries where we bump up the 5K range up to their 6K counterparts or equivalents, we can see, I shouldn't say we can see, but when we do that conversion, the 10K golfers that we have and above, they are still in the 10K range. 9,800 down to 85 consists of the 9K range. Of the 8K range, it goes from 82 down to 73. That's how far it drops down. And if you're wondering where I'm getting these numbers from, I do a breakdown, or I have a tool of my own that figures out what types of salaries we've seen every single year. I haven't updated this for 2025, but if you just focus here from 2024 all the way back, we see about an average of 5.75 10K golfers, an average of about 6.25 9K golfers, an average around 10 8K golfers, and then goes 38, 43, 50. If we go and look at that price conversion, and you guys can obviously go check that out, I have 5 10K golfers. I have 7 9K golfers. I have 10 8K golfers. Again, these are numbers that are very closely assimilated, or not assimilated, but very closely converted to previous salaries. And then we go down the 7K range. There's 38 golfers that I am considering in the 7K range, and that's 6,300 to 7,200. Then we go to the high 6K range, tier 5, basically, and I have 42. Remember, 42, I had 43 as your average. And then going back to this conversion, if I go all the way down, I have currently 48 low 6K, but they're technically your low 5K range. Whereas I normally have about 49. Now, the thing is, we're about 6 golfers light in this field. I imagine there's going to be alternates. There we go. I couldn't think of the word quickly, but we'll have alternates that will be probably added to this field, as well as maybe someone from the Canadian Open who wins that tournament that has not yet qualified for the US Open. I imagine that's one more spot that's possible to be included into the US Open, but then the rest will probably be alternates or other qualifiers that have not yet been added to the DraftKings pool. So And most likely those guys will be added into the 6K range, or I should say the 5K range. And that will just either boost up this number or it'll boost up this number, and maybe it'll boost up this number. But quite frankly, there's no one that's really a high price tag, or I shouldn't say high price tag, a really high end golfer winning the Canadian Open currently. So I imagine one of these numbers will be bolstered quite a bit. And I bet you it's going to be the lower 6K range. So I just want to point that out. I want to point that out because if you look, 5,500 is our low range, tier 6, the low 6K range. 5,600 and above, I would consider in that high 6K range. So going back to the salaries, I know I'm probably lost, you guys. I apologize. But Adam Schenk would be typically like a $6,500 golfer. Victor Perez would probably be a $6,700, $6,800 golfer in a normal week. And I'd bump down Scottie Scheffler to like a $13,300 golfer. But I still would follow the 10.98.776 with a couple substitutions we can make. So these 5K golfers, again, I would consider 6K golfers. So I've got two 6Ks. Well, I could go 10.98, 1.7, and then have these two 6s that are on the screen. We could go that route, or we could go 10.8, 8, 7.66, or however it ends up working out. So let's just take a look. We have $8,000 remaining with the lineup that I just created. So if we take a look at the salaries, is there somebody from up top that we just absolutely have to play that we think is a really good value? I'm not positive. And in fact, everyone around that 8K range has question marks. Matsuyama, no idea how his game is. Elite player, just don't know where his game is at. Brooks Koepka, same thing. I don't know what he's really doing on LIV. He missed the cut at the PGA Championship, and it was not good. It was terrible. If we take a look at Hovland's streaky. He's got a bunch of 20th place finishes. He did win earlier this year. He's at what price tag? 8,500. So I don't know about him. Joaquin Niemann. We've heard so much about him. I mean, he did finally finish top 10 at a major championship. Maybe it's Yako. But also, we could maybe jump up to the 9K range. It sounds weird. Sounds like that's kind of dumb to do. But remember, there's a price conversion. So if I go to $9,600, where do I have him? I have him in the 9K range. Let's go down and let's find someone in the 6K range that looks like a decent name. A golfer that I think I'd like to play at this golf course that, you know, attributes accuracy maybe more so than power, or maybe just power, because I'm a sucker for Thomas Dietrich. So let's go ahead and or maybe we put in Andrew Novak. Just saw a great interview with him and Pat Mayo. Let's go ahead and put Andrew Novak in there, 6,300. Now we have 8,200 left, so we go right back up to the 8K range. How about this? Let's take him out. I guess it really doesn't matter. Dietrich's 6,400. It was 63 and above as our price conversion, right? Yeah, 63 and above is a 7K golfer. Jeez. Okay, well, I guess, what is our threshold here? It goes from 82 down to 73 for our 8K range. So there you go. We can actually do our 8K golfer. Let's just do Matsuyama. I feel more comfortable playing someone like Matsuyama. So on the board, in my lineup, you currently see Scheffler at 14,400. I consider a 10K and above golfer. I have Aberg at 9,600. He stays a 9K golfer based off of that conversion that I just had. That I had up on the screen. He's still a 9K golfer. Matsuyama at $8,000 stays as an $8,000 golfer. That's kind of, you know, self-explanatory. Then we go down to $6,300 Andrew Novak. Well, that's a huge jump. We're skipping the 7K range completely. Not necessarily. Because again, down here in the $6,300 range, I'm converting that to your low 7K golfers. So here's Andrew Novak right here. I'm considering him just a 7K golfer. So currently I've started my lineup with a 10K, a 9K, an 8K, and a 7K if I convert them based off of the 5K range. And then, like I said earlier, 5,600 and 5,900 is in my high 6K range. So how this ends up looking at, or what it ends up looking like, is a 10K, 9K, 8K, 7, and 2 6s. So it's a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, which is right on theme of how I want to build lineups week in and week out. Now, that's just a Sweet Spot DFS overlook on that, or overview on that. I know that's going to be kind of confusing to some golfer or to some people that play DFS, and some of you might not even care about that. I like to build lineups with purpose, and part of that is looking at salary structures and just building out a lineup that's going to have the best opportunity to take down a GPP. That's all that I care about, is taking down a GPP. Now, I will note something. Scottie Scheffler most likely will have to win the tournament at that price tag, especially if some of these golfers at the top of the salary range end up finishing either, well, let's just put it this way. If any of these guys here finish first place, Scottie Scheffler will not be in the perfect lineup. Just straight up period. It's almost impossible. You wouldn't be able to put these golfers with Scottie Scheffler. However, if one of these low-priced golfers, let's say $8,000 and below, win this event, then Scottie probably could finish fourth and might likely be in the optimal lineup. That sounds far-fetched, but trust me, I've seen this plenty of times. I go over this type of stuff every single week in all of my other videos. Feel free to go check those out. I'm not afraid to play Scottie Scheffler at 14,400. I also don't. I know this is going to be the sentiment around the entire DFS industry, that Scottie Scheffler is too expensive to pay off his price tag. I don't think that's true at all. I mean, there is something that you have to think about of these top, let's just say the top 10 golfers outside of Scottie. So if I go to, let's go to this page here. Sorry. If we look here, just salaries alone, again, we have 5 that are 10K and above. So if I choose Rory on down to, say, how about we'll go down to Viktor Hovland? So the next 11 golfers, if these golfers can't finish inside the top 3, which when you look at it from name value alone, it's like, of course they will. It's Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, Xander Schauffele, Jon Rahm, Collin Morikawa, Ludvig Aberg, Patrick Cantlay, Justin Thomas, Tommy Fleetwood, Joaquin Niemann, and Viktor Hovland. It feels like one of those, if not maybe a handful of them, can finish inside the top 10. If not the top 5, maybe not a handful, but at least 1 or 2 should be able to finish inside the top 5. If that's the case, then yeah, even if Scottie wins, it'll be pretty challenging, especially when we're not going to see a lot of birdies scored at this golf course. A lot of people have already been mentioning that even par is a great target score at the end of the tournament to be at in order to win the tournament. I think if we go back to 2016, I have all the results recorded. 2016, where we had Oakmont, DJ was -4. And then Jim Furyk, Shane Lowry, and Scott Piercy. So 3 other guys. So a total of 4 golfers were under par. And then it goes from there. Because scoring won't be high when it comes to birdies and eagles being made, there's more of an emphasis on placement points. So again, this means that Scottie Scheffler, if he ends up winning the tournament, he's going to get 30 points. Let's see. Can I see a breakdown? Yeah, we can do full contest details. So rules and scoring. So if you look, finishing points, first place is 30. That is 10 points over 20, or I'm sorry, 10 points over second place. That is 20 points over 7th place. And then it drops down. I wouldn't say precipitous. Yeah, it doesn't really precipitously. But that's a big gap, 20 points, especially when there are not going to be as many bogeys on this course. Now, I used to say bogeys, I mean birdies. I'm thinking about how many bogeys will be at this course for each of these golfers. This is really one of those tournaments where we want to find our bogey avoidance golfers. Which ones are the best there? Because again, scoring is going to be tough. Not to say birdies can't happen. Bryson DeChambeau just posted a video on YouTube going over his round. He played 18 holes at Oakmont, and he had a few birdies there. I mean, I don't remember how many, but I think it was over 4. It was 4 or 5, something like that. Or I don't remember, but he had enough bogeys. He finished even par, but it looked like it was scoreable, at least from the lens of Bryson. I don't really remember when this tournament or when he played this course for his YouTube video. He posted it 2 days ago, so I have no idea if it was earlier, but it was all roped off and the rough was thick. So I think it was within the last week. So I'm going to be honest with you. So either way, Bryson could score. And I'm not saying everybody else can score because Bryson can score. It's just, if there are birdies out there, I guess they can be made. And that will add to score, to fantasy score, which is the biggest thing when it comes to picking your golfers, is trying to pick golfers that have the best possibility to give you the most points. Obviously, right? That sounds like a John Maddenism. I'm basically telling you everything you already know. So, yes, there could be birdies made, but is that available for the rest of the field? I just mentioned Bryson. I don't know how anybody else has played that course. We just know you need to be straight. You need to be somewhat accurate. And if not, you better generate enough club head speed to hit it out of the 5-inch rough they're going to have at the US Open. So I've kind of went down the whole Scottie Scheffler rabbit hole, but it's worth going down because at that price tag, you have a lot of choices to make, because it's a $2,000 difference between Scheffler and Rory. $2,000. So if you were to start out with Rory, you have $7,500 left, versus if you started with Scottie, you'd have $7,100 per player, I should say. Per player, not left, but per player. There's already more lineup opportunities or more lineup variations you can build with a Rory McIlroy lineup. Where building with the Scottie Scheffler lineup kind of limits you as to what you can do. So Rory at 12,400 had a very bad Canadian Open. It's not going to show on here just yet, but it was bad. It was very bad. I don't remember what he ended up, but last time I saw he was +8. +8. I think I'm probably in the camp that he was trying different types. Like after round 1, he had gotten it to like -1 or -2 and then just went bogey, bogey, bogey or something like that in his last 5 holes. He had like 3 bogeys or something like that. Finished 1 over. Or no, he actually came back and then bogeyed his last hole, I'm pretty sure. And it looked like, okay, he's just a little out of it. Didn't have a lot in the tank. But then that second day, I think he just, I don't know what was going on. You could, obviously raise a red flag to that. Like, the alert bells and everything are going off, but I don't know. We've heard many golfers talk about if they don't have it or if they're not in contention or don't feel like they're in contention at an event, they're just going to hit shots that they think are required for the next event, especially a major championship. So who knows? I'm not going to throw that into the ether like I know anything that's going on with Rory McIlroy's game, but I don't know. Is it worth caring about? I'm going to be going over this when it comes to my live videos and throughout all the other videos that I'm going to create. Not all of them, but I'm not sure which one I'm going to. I guess that's what I'm getting at. But basically what I'll cover is looking at finishes at the US Open and what they were coming into the event with. Patrick Cantlay missed the cut at the Memorial the week before going into the US Open. He finished 3rd. Same applies for Matthew Pavon, who is a low price golfer. I'll go over this through the bucket system video. I just remembered this is what I do with the bucket system. So we'll talk more about that when it comes to there. But does missing the cut the week before really matter? I don't know. I don't think so. Again, we'll figure it out as these videos progress. So be on the lookout for each of the videos that I post. Again, when I talk about last week, that'll be during the bucket system video. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. That should be out Monday, most likely. But let's move on. Bryson's at $11,000. That's super, super friendly. And I think of these top 3 golfers 10K and above, I probably like Bryson DeChambeau the most, just because of the price tag. If you click his name, you have $7,800 left to play with. You really don't have to dip down into a lot of these salaries. I mean, we found some good 6K golfers. How about this? Let's just go with Justin Rose, a veteran golfer that's pretty decent. I have $8,200 to work with. Well, let's put Ludvig in there just to up the price a little bit, and maybe Joaquin Niemann. So now I have $6,500 left, which there are some decent names down here. Again, we kind of mentioned, what was it? Andrew Novak. There we go, $6,300. So we have $200 left on the table, but we go 11,000, 9,000, 8,000, high 7, 69, and then 63. That is very doable. And in fact, if we go to the price conversion tool, that just shows 6,300 being the cheapest guy. That is the 7K range. That is what I consider the 7K range. So on a normal event, we're not even dipping down into the 6K range for any of the golfers that we have here, despite 2 of them saying they're 6K golfers. But this is a more balanced lineup and one that fits the sweet spot process when it comes to structure building, like salary structures. 1098, this on paper, it says 1098, 766. But when it comes to actually looking at the salaries, it would be 1098, 777 with the price conversion. So yeah, much easier to build lineups with Bryson. And in fact, if you think Bryson's going to win the event, then that's what you do. You start with Bryson and then you build out a lineup similar to what I just did. Xander Schauffele coming in with concerns of his own or struggles of his own. 28th place finish at the PGA and then 25th at Memorial. And I'll say this, that's as much as he could have got out of each of those events. He's not scoring well, and he's also not giving himself a lot of scoring opportunities. When I say that's the best that, or the most he could have squeezed out of his round or his tournaments, that's me saying he couldn't have done any better for how he was playing. So take that for whatever it's worth. Doesn't matter to me. Moving on, Jon Rahm. He actually, I mean, his PGA Championship was pretty darn good. Minus his round 473, that you can make the jokes that Live Golf is only 54 holes, and in 54 holes he actually played pretty decent. And then that final round was not great, but I'm not going to really knock that against him. I like Jon Rahm at this course. I think a lot of people are going to, and in fact, I think you could probably build a lineup that starts with Bryson and also starts with Jon Rahm. You have $7,200 to work with. And again, you could dive down into the high 5K range, find a golfer there, pair him up with, let's just do that. Here, let's go over that. Let's check that out. So like, who was it that I had in my lineups that I thought was fine? Let's not do Adam Schenk. Let's do a $5,900 golfer. I did Victor Perez. Let's just do Sam Stevens this time, and then we'll pair him up with Andrew Novak, like we've been doing throughout this video. We're left with $8,300. 83, which means I could still go in and get Yako and then Hideki Matsuyama. Easy peasy, man. 2 10s, 2 8s, a 5, and a 6. So this is very viable. A Bryson and Jon Rahm start. You know, again, follow along with me when we go over pass optimal and GPP win lineups, as well as the bucket system. I will talk more about golfers and their salaries finishing in certain positions. I'm not that concerned with diving into the 6K range or the 5K range, the 7K range to pair up some studs here at the top, because the end of the leader or the end of the tournament, your leaderboard will have, like, your top 10 leaderboard will have about 5, maybe 5 of these golfers that are $8,000 and above, meaning you're going to have to fill them in with other 7 and 6K golfers and 5K golfers. It's just going to happen that way. I've done this long enough. I have all the proof. You can check out all the videos that I've posted. I go over this every single week. So I'm not at all concerned with grabbing some of these high price studs, whether it's Scottie, whether it's Rory, whether it's Bryson, and building lineups with any of them. The 5K range lends ourselves to being able to do that. All right, so moving on from there, Collin Morikawa at $9,800. We want accuracy at this golf course. One of the most accurate golfers in the world. His finishes haven't been great, but that's because of putter issues. Now, that doesn't really matter if he's hitting every single green. Even if he two putts every single green and finishes even par at the end of the tournament, he's got a good chance to win the tournament. I'm not looking for birdie makers, really. I'm just looking for guys who are going to avoid bogey. That's the primary thing that I'm thinking that I care about. And I like Morikawa's chances when it comes to that kind of stuff. Ludvig Aberg, if it wasn't for his good start to the Canadian Open, I probably would have ignored him. You know, leading up until the Memorial Tournament didn't look super great. But then he placed 16th at the Memorial, and he's currently at the top of the leaderboard, or one of the top guys at the Canadian Open right now. So it's like, okay, maybe he figured something out. Maybe he was just in a funk, you know, these 3 weeks. PGA Championship to RBC Heritage. He did finish 7th at the Masters. So, you know, and for, if we want straight ball hitters, Ludvig hits a pretty darn straight golf ball. So I don't hate the idea of playing Ludvig Aberg that week, the week of the US Open. Patrick Cantlay is actually one of the more questionable golfers to play. I will note this 12th place finish, he had 5 bogeys to end his round 4. He was up to 3rd place at this event. He was never going to catch Scottie, but he had 5 bogeys all on the back 9 to finish 12th place. Now that's obviously worth mentioning because you have to mention that. 12th place finish, not super great when considering where he was at, but at a course that he typically does well at, he was able to perform just fine. So I don't mind going with someone like Patrick Cantlay at 9,300. JT, so it drops from 9,000 down to 9,300. JT's not the golfer that I think is going to play well at this golf course. The guy is still very erratic off the tee, which I do not like. A lot of people say he's a good rough player, but that's one of those things you have to understand. Out of the rough at certain golf courses are different than rough at this golf course. Memorial had thick rough. They say it was even thicker rough than the PGA Championship, which obviously Justin Thomas missed the cut. Now you can see he finished 2nd at the Truist and he finished 1st at the RBC Heritage. He's a very streaky golfer. I'm going to mention that. This is called streakiness, to follow with a cut and a 31st. Personally, I'd rather see one other event in here between the PGA and this US Open besides the Memorial. That would give me more hope. Like, I wish he would have played either the Charles Schwab Challenge or the Canadian Open just to see a top 15. That would be great to see. I'm not sold on JT. In fact, I don't know. I never really play 0% of a golfer. Like, I build a ton of lineups, but I think JT is verging on like 6% max exposure for me, 6 to 10% somewhere in there. I really don't want to play that much JT. I don't think it's a good course fit. Tommy Fleetwood is a bogey avoidance golfer. He's a guy that I do want on my lineups. $8,800, pretty accessible. You saw me build a bunch of lineups earlier in this video using Joaquin Niemann at 8,600. So what really is the difference between Yako and Tommy Fleetwood? They're both going to do what I need them to do. I need them to place well. I don't think either of them are going to make that many bogeys. I do like the idea of playing Fleetwood or Niemann. And pairing them up with Scottie Scheffler is just fine. I got no issue with that. Again, we built those lineups on earlier in this video. Viktor Hovland is questionable to me. I don't like his I'll say this, since the beginning of the year where he had nothing going on for him and he couldn't figure out his game, he has provided some stability when it comes to a lot of his finishes, and I like that. I'm just concerned. I think this is his ceiling is a top 20. Top 25, I should say. I don't think his top 10 is really all that great. Like, just thinking of his potential to finish inside the top 10, I don't think it's super good. I think it's like a less than 2% chance, a less than 1% chance. And that just kind of scares me away from playing him at 8,500. If I'm building kind of a more balanced lineup where I'm going like Xander at 10,400 or even Jon Rahm. If I were to start my lineups with Jon Rahm, maybe that's better. Go Jon Rahm. Maybe we want Collin Morikawa because of accuracy. And then I drop down to Viktor Hovland at 8,500. I think that's okay, I guess. Like this right here, these three golfers, you know, I've seen this done on other streams. I think it's pretty solid. But these three golfers, are they better than going Scottie with, say, Corey Connors and trying to find let's go like Maverick McNealy. Basically the same salary that's remaining. 71, 66, 7,100, 7,200, something like that. Is Scheffler, Connors, and McNealy better than starting your lineups with Hovland, Morikawa, and Rahm? Here's the thing. I actually think it's pretty close. I kid you not. It sounds weird because we're looking at name value, but we always got to remember each one of these golfers is good enough to win on the PGA Tour, especially those that are PGA Tour golfers. Jon Rahm's obviously a live golfer. But either way, I think this is fine. I think that was fine. The two comparisons I just made, I get it. Name value alone doesn't make any sense, but I need 6 golfers to finish inside the top 10. Or I need at least 4 or 5 golfers to finish inside the top 10 and the other 2 golfers to finish inside the top 20 in order for my chances to win the Fantasy Golf Millionaire, or the Millie Maker as we like to call it on DraftKings. In order to win an event like that, you need 6 of your guys. You need the first place guy, 2 guys inside the top 5, 1 or 2 other guys inside the top 10, and then 1 or 2 guys inside the top 20. You're going to need that in order to take down a Millionaire Maker. So when it comes to building lineups, do I think this or the previous one that I just saw has better upside? I think they're pretty even. I kid you not. That's how much I think Scottie Scheffler is just better at. Like, his chances of winning this tournament, I think, are greater than. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I think it's greater than adding those 3 guys together. Rahm, Morikawa, Hovland. So it's really up to you guys, though. If you would disagree with me, wonderful. It's your money. Spend it however you want. Build your lineups the way you want to build them. But moving on, Brooks Koepka. Yeah, I think I'm going to have him at 4 to 8% exposure, max exposure in my lineups. I really don't want to play that much Koepka. And if anything, I might just put him in one lineup. My best lineup I can build with Brooks Koepka, and it might just be in one of those winner take-alls to try to get all my entry fee money back. But I really don't care to play Brooks Koepka that week. Despite being a golfer that's usually good at the US Open, there's just something since he went to live. He's just not as good. He's not as good. Matsuyama, there's enough question marks with Matsuyama. These are some pretty pitiful finishes. 36th, 38th. You'd expect more. And he missed the cut at the last major championship. I don't know. Not going to go there with Matsuyama. Lowry. I like Lowry. $7,800 is such a one, a convenient price tag, but just a forgiving price tag. Having him on a Scottie Scheffler lineup makes a ton of sense. But also, if you're building one of those more balanced builds, he is a great golfer to add to your lineups. Same goes with Sepp Straka. The guy's been ball striking the hell out of it as of late. 3rd place finish at the Memorial, won the Truist, which was a signature event. He looked good. Obviously, there's a cut there at the PGA, but that's fine. Things like this happen. Actually, you know what? Now that I just noticed that there was a cut at the PGA and a cut at the Masters, is this guy maybe putting a little too much pressure on himself in the majors? It's a possibility. Tyrrell Hatton, this is an accuracy golfer. I think his upside is pretty capped. I mean, 14th place finish at the Masters, that's not bad. And I think he was in the 7K range, if I remember correctly. Was he 7,800 or maybe 8,200? At a price tag like that, the payoff is easy to get to. Jordan Spieth at 75. I'm not going to click on each of these names. Jordan Spieth, that's all right. I could pass on Jordan. He's not an accuracy guy. He has gained off the tee as of late. That's pretty good, but I think I just ignore Jordan Spieth. Russell Henley, yeah, you know what? This T5 was great. That was kind of just a quiet T5, honestly. He looked good at the Memorial. Obviously missed the cut at the PGA. Is this another Sepp Straka? It kind of feels like it, but I'm okay going back to someone like Russell Henley. Keegan Bradley, Captain Keegan Bradley. I don't have any issue playing Keegan. He's a bogey avoidant type of golfer. Doesn't make a lot of putts. I'm not really worried about him having to make a ton of putts this week. He's great when it comes to driving the golf ball. He's great on approach. Yeah, I don't mind playing Keegan Bradley. Tony Finau is more of a question mark to me. He just hasn't strung together enough good events. Does he even have a top 10 this year? He does at the Genesis T5, 13th at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, 15th at the Truist. It's a limited field. 19th, okay, 19th at the PGA Championship. That's worthwhile. And I think he was doing good things at the Memorial, despite a couple holes that really just, like, the Memorial has enough water to be penalizing. I don't think we're going to have that type of penalty at the at Oakmont at the US Open, but if he's going to be that inaccurate with his driver and his irons like he was at the Memorial, this is probably, I mean, I like his chances of getting a top 20, honestly. So at $7,300, not a big deal to me to play him. I think it's fine. Corey Connors, accuracy golfer, currently not representing his National Open that well. Actually, I don't even think, did he even make the cut? I don't even know if he made the cut. Something obviously to look out for. If he didn't make the cut, that's kind of, that's not super great. $7,300 though, very inviting, very easy to build lineups. Very easy to build lineups with him. Cam Smith, best short game in the world, probably. I just don't think he's accurate enough to be a good play at the US Open. Now, I will mention this. I kind of go over this every single time we have a tournament similar to this, where it's difficult, where there's accuracy, where accuracy is a high importance. There will be one or two golfers that are not known for their accuracy that will finish inside the top 10. Happens all the time at every single event. Whatever the most common or the strongest stat to follow, you'll have two guys that are at the bottom of that stat. That's just how golf works, man. There's no real way of predicting just based off of, oh, hey, this course is tight and you're going to need accuracy off the tee in order to keep the ball in the fairway. And also you're going to have a good approach play in order to, give yourself the best birdie opportunities. Sometimes it's just playing smart golf. And it doesn't really matter what your stat profile looks like going into the event. Some people narrow in, they focus harder when it comes to these major championships. I'm not going to pretend to know which of these golfers you should target. It's just, I'm never going to be a firm believer in stat stacking, as they call it, because each of your previous milli makers, I think I could do this. Maybe I'll do this on stream Tuesday night. If I go over every single year of the US Open or the PGA Championship or the Masters tournament, you're going to find one or two guys in the winning lineup, the winning milli maker lineup, not being known for whatever stat that matters at that event. Like it was a popular thing 4 or 5 years ago when no one was good at PGA DFS, but everyone has gotten better because there are better stat websites out there that people follow. There are better content creators that people follow. You can't really stack stats in today's world, in today's contest selections. You just can't really do that. So if you really want the best chance to win a GPP, consider playing 1 or 2 guys that are not known for having great stats for the best stats or the best stat fits to a golf tournament, especially this one, the US Open. So throwing that out there. Cam Smith might be the play. He might be. Also, Min-Woo Lee. I'm going to skip Ben Griffin for now, but Min-Woo Lee, not known for being an accuracy guy. He won the Houston Open, which was wide open. No rough, wide open. He almost tried to gag it away on the last couple holes by hitting it into the trees that were like, I'm exaggerating here, but like 50 yards away from the fairway. And you can see the courses that mattered to be accurate, he didn't finish that well at. But again, someone with bad accuracy is going to find their way inside the top 10 and probably be a part of either the optimal lineup or the GPP winning lineup. But going back to Ben Griffin's the hottest golfer on tour. He's one of the most consistent golfers. And I said this during the Memorial Tournament, during my stream, my 2 streams there. I think he's worth playing. I'm going to continue to say that because he is one of the most consistent golfers. And he kind of has been ever since last year. He's a very consistent golfer. He's actually sneaky long comparatively, or as you might not even think of him being a long ball hitter, but he's got decent swing speed. I don't have an issue playing Ben Griffin. Sam Burns at $7,100 just seems criminal. He also isn't known for being a super accurate golfer, but the guy has elite upside. At $7,100, sign me up. Matt Fitzpatrick has kind of been up and down. We go into his game logs. 8th place finish at the PGA was good. I mean, he was also really low priced at the PGA Championship, where it's like, maybe it's worth playing him. Again, guys, this guy has elite upside. He has won a US Open before. That was at Brookline, the course that he won an amateur championship on. But either way, he's good enough to win a US Open. Why not this one? And really, the fact that he hasn't missed a cut since the Masters is... They're not super great finishes, but how I view Matt Fitzpatrick this year, which, like, where has he been? Like, haven't really seen him at the top of the leaderboard. The fact that I see that he has 0 missed cuts gives me a bit more confidence playing Matt Fitzpatrick. I think what I'm going to do with the rest of these golfers, let's just do like a quick lightning round. I'm going to try to keep this video under an hour. And we're at 53 minutes. Sungjae Im, sure. Don't mind playing him. Wyndham Clark, probably going to skip out on that. Guy doesn't hit it straight enough to win this US Open, or I think to even finish inside the top 10. But again, same thing applies to what I had said with the other crooked golfers like Min-Woo Lee and Cam Smith. One of those guys will probably have a good, or like, will find themselves inside the top 10. J-Day, I'm probably staying away from. He's just not been playing super great. Masters Tournament, I think he has a withdraw somewhere in here before one of the events. I can't remember which one. I don't like that. Don't like seeing it. I think I'll just stay away from J-Day. Justin Rose, on the other hand, yeah, sign me up. I think we're going to want, like, if we go to the 2016 results here at Oakmont, you have Jim Furyk, who was an old, wily veteran at that time, known for accuracy. That was a good play. Scott Piercy was an old, wily veteran, accuracy golfer. If I go down here, Jason Duffner was a good ball striker. J-Day wasn't having nearly the same back issues, but he was an all-around good golfer. Zach Johnson, an old, wily veteran, more of a straight ball hitter. David Lingworth, straight ball hitter, but not, I guess, not really an old, wily veteran. That's kind of what I'm going with, is I'm trying to look at all the old guys that are here at the top of the leaderboard. Furyk is the guy, to me, that reminds me of Justin Rose this year. Or I should say it the opposite way. Justin Rose this year reminds me of Jim Furyk of 2016. A guy that kind of has, good showings at certain golf courses, but not super consistent. I mean, Jay Rose's game log has to be okay, right? Okay, cut at the PGA, cut at the Truist, second at the Masters. Maybe his second at the Masters kind of blended into these. 41st place at the Memorial isn't super great, but he was playing well at the Canadian Open before I started streaming. So I got no issue with playing Justin Rose. Siwoo Kim, I think, is a great spot player. I have no issue putting him in my lineups. Patrick Reed, same thing applies. He is not very good with hitting the ball straight. However, the guy grinds out par after par after par at every tournament he plays at. I think he's a fine player. Tom Kim, I think, is too much trouble for what he's worth. $6,800. I like seeing him in the 6K range. I think that's where he belongs right now. But he just doesn't have it. And I don't know if the US Open is going to flip it, but at this course where it's going to require 100% of your focus, I don't think Tom Kim has it. Mav McNealy, I think, is a great play. $6,800, or a great, what's the word I want to look for? I'm not going to say a great play, but he is someone that I will be wanting to play at least up to 12%, maybe 15%. That's probably too much, but somewhere between 10 and 14%, I think, exposure that I'll have on Maverick McNealy. Danny Berger hasn't really played great golf the last two tournaments, but prior to the last two tournaments, looked pretty good. I don't know. I'm kind of a firm believer, and it's not that he played at the Canadian Open, but I'm a firm believer you don't play Danny Berger 2 weeks in a row. And the fact that he hasn't really been playing great golf in his last two outings gives me cause for concern, because he was one of those guys coming back from injury. I don't know if he re-aggravated an injury. I don't know if anything is really bothering him with his injury. So from previous injury, I will play Berger. Just I'm not anchoring any of my lineups around him. JJ Spawn, don't really care. Bobby Mack, don't really care. DJ, I don't think he cares. It's probably not going to play him. Akshay Bhatia, I think, is a really good standout player. Has a lot of potential. He's great on scoring tracks. I don't think he's really good at grinded out par courses or events. 16th place finish at the Memorial, not bad. So he could be one of those guys that proves us wrong. Harris English, I like him this week, especially at $6,700. I don't mind going to that to him to round out some of my lineups, especially my Scottie Scheffler lineups. Adam Scott, wily veteran. See Justin Rose. What I said about Justin Rose, I think a wily veteran is going to one of these older golfers that has a lot of decent experience, major championship winners. I don't have an issue with those golfers. Sahith Theegala, he just withdrew from the Canadian Open. Let's see, what was it for? His neck. Yeah. Necks and backs, not super great injuries to have when you're a golfer. So probably cause for concern there. Denny McCarthy, 6,600, I think is fine. Same goes with JT Poston. Cam Young was playing okay at the Canadian Open, and he's been stringing along a couple finishes in his last couple events that are pretty decent. So I don't know. I'll look more into it as the week goes on, but currently, speculative play, Cam Young is fine. Ben Yan, sure. Brian Harmon, not really, but sure. We could put him in the old wily veteran category. Davis Thompson, I don't think hits the ball straight enough for me to care. I also don't really care to play Davis Thompson, to be quite honest with you. Look to play him at the John Deere Classic once again. I think that's fine. Aaron Rai, known for being an accurate guy, don't really care for him this week. Like a cut there, a cut, like I just not someone I really care that much about. Really like Thomas Dietrich's potential. Don't know if he's accurate enough. Don't really care. I think I'll be playing enough Dietrich, despite what I just said. Niergaard Peterson, sure, he's a speculative play. I'll probably have exposure somewhere between 4 to 8% on him. Same goes with Carlos Ortiz. Max Grazerman probably doesn't hit the ball straight enough. Mashes it off the tee, though. I guess I don't mind Max Grazerman. Don't really care for Michael Kim. He is, I think, now again battling injuries. I think he's got a wrist injury to be concerned about, so probably not going there. Don't really care about Seabez. He is an accuracy guy, but don't really care to play him. Andrew Novak, him and Ben Griffin might be two of the hottest golfers on the tour outside of Scottie Scheffler and say Sepp Straka and Ben Griffin. So those guys are pretty decent. I don't mind going to Novak. I also don't mind going to Nick Taylor. Kind of showed up during the Canadian Open for the rounds that I saw. I think that's a fine play. Don't really care for Wallace. Don't care for Kiefer. Not going to play Bridgman. Probably not going to play Cam Davis, or not enough of him. Lucas Glover, I think, is an old wily veteran that's worth playing. Davis Riley's getting back into his own. I think he's fine. Mac Hughes is fine at 6,200. He has a chance to win the Canadian Open round 4. We'll see. EVR, sure. I got no issue playing EVR. I think his potential is good enough here. Tom Hoagie. Do we call him an old wily veteran right now? I don't know. Maybe. I think he has potential here. Pavon, I think, has potential here. Bud Cauley is going to be a lot of favorite golfer, or a lot of people's favorite plays to put in the lineup at $6,100. I bet you're going to see a lot of Scottie Scheffler lineups with Bud Cauley in them, and I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. Bud Cauley's been playing some good golf. I like Ryan Gerard's grinded out par type of stat profile. He is that type of golfer. I don't mind playing Ryan Gerard at a golf course like this. At 6,100, again, easy. Rasmus Højgaard has elite upside. I don't mind playing him. I don't know what his scrambling stats look like, but just for upside purposes alone, I don't mind going there. Woodland, probably not. Leishman, probably not. Norgard Moeller, probably not. Jaeger, I actually don't mind his grinded out potential. He won the Houston Open last year over Scottie Scheffler. That was a closer to par type of event where the winning score was closer to par. It was like a -8, I think he won it at, or -10, something like that. So he's a guy that can grind it out. Don't mind that. Richard Bland, probably don't care. Thorbjorn Olesen, I do like. Victor Perez, I like. Sam Stevens, I like. Jackson Quaven, don't really care. I know he's supposed to be a on the rise type of golfer, but don't really care. Chris Kirk has not been playing good enough golf for me to really consider him here. He is a name. He has won on the PGA Tour several times. I just don't know if I can get there. Echeverria, I don't know what happened to this guy. At the beginning of the year, he was lights out, and then he just kind of has ho-hum finishes. Like, I don't know. Probably not worth me. I'm not too concerned. Like, I always joke, if there's water on the course, don't play Echeverria because he tends to find it. I think Echeverria finds the rough quite a bit at this golf course, and I don't think he's got enough power to really hack it out. Sam Burstow, I don't really care. I think it's Sam, right? Yeah, Sam. Don't really care. Phil Mickelson, don't care. No idea who this person is. Jordan L. Smith. You know what? If this was 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, absolutely, sign me up. He used to be a golfer I used to play all the time. What is he doing? He's on the DP World Tour. These string of finishes don't look so bad. This one, not so great. I have no idea. I don't follow the DP World Tour, so I don't know if that was a tough golf course. But if it was, that's not a great showing for like a US Open. Lowry Cantor is a person that has decent upside. Missed the cut at the Masters and the PGA. He's down here in the 6K range for a reason, or I should say 5K range. And then do I really want to talk about anyone else? I kind of mentioned some of the names to go with like Scottie Scheffler down here that were worth talking about. So I don't really care. Yeah, I'm not going to really spend much time. I'm not going to spend any time down here. If you wanted an Andrew Landry, substitute, because Andrew Landry was leading the 2016 US Open at Oakmont after round 3, I would say it's Justin Lauer. Because I would say their stat profiles are probably very similar this year versus 2016 Andrew Landry. Although Andrew Landry had already won a tournament, Justin Lauer has not. So never mind. Maybe we don't make that comparison. Will Chandler, probably the cheapest guy that I want to play. Him and Lanto Griffin. I like to call Will Chandler Will Chandelier. Just a funny a name that I've heard friends called Chandlers in the past. So don't mind that. And yeah, that's about it. So I did run over an hour, but that's fine. It's all good. I'm probably not going to edit this video. Not a big deal to me to edit. Let's go ahead and drop down the DraftKings leaderboard and put up the giveaway. Just to remind you guys, I am doing a win the pot giveaway. I've done this for the last couple major championships, doing videos for those. Starts at $20. For every one new subscriber, I add $2 to it. And if you want an entry, leave a comment down below. Give me your favorite golfer. That's the simplest thing to do. Or say thanks, or type the number 1. It doesn't really matter. Just leave a comment. That's all you need to do. Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. That is how you can win this giveaway. And if we reach 850 subscribers on this channel, so we're at 841, we just need 9 more subscribers. I'll change that starting winning amount from 20 to 50. So I'll just give you a bit more bang for the buck, I guess. More buck for the pot. Let's put it that way. So that's there for you. And then also go sign up at sweetspotdfs.com. There's a link down in the description that'll get you to the website. Go check that out. And then also all the videos that I'll be showcasing the tools on, or I'll be using the tools, you can also access those tools by becoming a member at sweetspotdfs.com. All right, guys, that is all that I have for you. So I look forward to seeing you guys throughout the rest of the week. Again, I will go live Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, Tuesday, June 10th. Be there for the giveaway winner. Be there for questions, a little Q&A. I'll go over through my strategies. And also Wednesday night, I do another live stream for YouTube members only. So if you're interested in that, become a member on YouTube and you'll get access to that video where I break it down even more. And I give you all of my plays. We try to find out the diamonds in the rough and then I build out my lineups, telling you the strategies that I am deploying for the week. Furthermore than what I talk about on Tuesdays. So be on the lookout for that. But for this video, it's a wrap. So thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next couple videos. Thanks. Goodbye.